Hey everybody, Magic Tablet Skittles here, and I am back with the tutorial showing you guys something really awesome. I'm actually going to show you the process that I have for making a manga page from start to finish. So this is probably going to take a while because I'm going to explain it in detail, but this is actually a great reference for you guys because I've had a lot of questions about my manga as I've been making it, and I actually have a 12-page preview that you guys can go check out. I'll put that in the link into the description so you can go see that. But I am going to start by showing you how I do a manga page. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is figure out what the manga is about. So that's what this is for. This is actually the entire script of my manga. Now, I say script, but it's more of an event list because it's kind of just what happens. The dialogue is really rough. It's just basic. This is just to give me an idea of what I'm going to do. So I plan out the entire chapter 1 this way, and then I just typed it out, and this was all in WordPad. Shows how fancy I am. I can't even afford Microsoft Word. But anyway, with this, I just printed it out so I would have it in front of me, and then from here is actually how I separated this into pages. You'll see that I have like pages of just what happens, and this is just the event list. But from here I actually separate it into how much I want to happen on an individual page. So you'll see like 51, 52, 53, 54 and whatnot, but you'll see that I actually broke these down so I'd know how much of an event I can put on one page. So that is what these are for. These are storyboards, and you'll see that I have storyboards for storyboards. Now for this video in particular, I'm going to use page 56 as an example because that page holds a special place in my heart for the most hatred I've ever felt towards an inanimate object. So we'll use that one as the example. So you'll see with page 56, I didn't have a lot there because I actually knew that there was going to be like a big scene here of an entire school blowing up. So I decided to use that, but you'll see that this event list, I've actually broken it down to how much will happen on a page, and this is how I know it's 80 pages, because it stops at 80 pages. So that's how I know ahead of time that my manga was going to be 80 pages. From the first week I started it. So that is the event list. You don't really need to make one of these, but if you decide to, you can plan a lot more things in depth. So, that's the event list. Now onto the storyboards. Now, this one is for page 56 in particular. As you can see, I basically take what I said here, like crows explode, crow and Ellen falling from a worm's eye view. So this is kind of like camera directions. Like I said, this is an event list. And then I kind of get an idea of how I'm going to put that together. Then over here is actually how I figured out the panel layout, how many panels it's going to have. And then here is actually where I just did little thumbnails, and I prefer to do these in pen because I tend to get a little carried away and want to have details in these. So this is kind of a mechanism for me. It's like, this is a pen. You can add a lot of details if you want to, but then you won't be able to tell what the heck you're looking at. Plus, it's permanent. So with this, it helps it be more sketchy, so that way I don't actually want to add a lot more detail into it. That it won't smear going from page to page like I have found it does with pencil. So this is just for me. The reason I do them in pen is so I won't overly sketch them, because it has happened before. So as far as this page goes, I plan where everything goes and then how the text and stuff work out. And then, like I said, I do a lot of the actual dialogue refining there. Like, I do have an idea of what I'm gonna say, and you'll see that this isn't a first copy. I've actually retyped this like 3 or 4 times, and then I'm still adding and editing things to it. So this goes through a lot of refining. Hopefully the story is on par with the drawings, because I can draw okay, but my writing sucks. But anyway, as far as page 56 goes, those are the storyboards for it. Now, something cool that I can show you guys is I actually made this template of 4 pages, and I can actually put that under here, and then I can trace out the square, because these are sized to scale. This does help. Now, that's kind of just a cool trick that I've picked up. But anyway, so that way I don't have to draw the squares perfectly sized time to time, which, yeah. There are the storyboards. So from here, I can actually move on to what kind of paper I use for my manga. This is just Canton paper. You can use whatever the crud you want. I mean, if it's not crap, then great. But I have used normal printer paper for test manga pages before, and it's held up fine. So this is kind of just a preference for me. So you'll see that I actually just use normal sketchbook paper. Now the starting dimensions, I'll use these 2 as an example. So the actual paper size is 9 by 12, but you'll see that I have red edges around here. I actually just did that for visibility on the page, because the reason I cut this down is I do chop these edges off so it'll fit in a scanner. It's just a normal office scanner, which is what I have. So if you, whatever form of scanner you have, it doesn't need to be fancy, you can use that. So as far as this page goes, this paper size is 9 by 12, but I actually trim it down to be 8.3 by 11.7. That's an actual standard manga size, so I thought that was great. And it fits in a scanner, which is great for me because I don't need to scan it twice, put it together, redraw the edges that would... Okay, I'm ranting, but I have done that before and I hated it very much. So the reason I draw on 8.3 by 11.7 is just for that reason. So I actually just make these edges on a 9 by 12 and then I'll cut them off at the end of the video or something with scissors. At the end of the video. I'm not filming this! You're in my head right now by clicking on a link to a video.
Beware.
But anyway, if you'll actually notice that in these storyboards too, I have a little edge out to the side, and that's kind of with the binding. Like, even though this is going to be like online, I've actually planned for it so it could be printed if I ever had the opportunity. We're being very thorough with this. So if it's a page on the left, I'll actually have this on the right, so it's closer to the binding. Like, say this was a 2-page spread, here would be where the binding is, and I don't want the drawing to get caught in that. So I actually have a 1/2 inch gap. Now that is included in the 8.3 by 11.7, as you can see on this page. It still has the gap, but if it's on the other side of the page, the other side of the binding, I guess I can kind of use this book itself as an example. Binding, right? And then you'll see that this has the little teeth in it, so you can tear the page out. That corner would be the binding for that, so it would fit. And this edge right here would be the binding for that page, so I actually do need to pay attention to where the binding is on the page. So if it's a page on the left, I'll leave it like this, and if it's a page on the right, I'll turn it upside down and then it's on that other side, and then we're good. So as far as the drawing goes, I can't get too in detail with that because I can't tell you I can't tell you guys how I draw because even I'm not sure. It's a draw, then it happens. So yeah, as far as the drawing goes, you guys are on your own with that one. This page was a pain in particular because I had a lot of perspective. There were vanishing points like way out here and over there, and there, here, there, everywhere. But yeah, as far as the actual drawing of the page goes, you guys are on your own for that one, because if I told you how to draw a page, that would be my page that you guys drew, and it wouldn't be a page for your actual manga, so I'd say go ahead and do what the heck you actually do with that. So, that's as far as the traditional side of the manga goes. I do use microns to ink because G-pens are my sworn enemy. They're the only thing I hate more than rose art, and trust me, that is saying something. But yeah, here is as far as the traditional side goes. The reason I do traditional is because I just work better with traditional, especially with backgrounds. Have you ever inked a digital background? That crap sucks! Oh, I hate it so much. And before I rant on too much, we can go on to the digital half now. Okay, so now I've brought this into Photoshop. That's actually a software that you're going to need, but don't worry, I have found an official link to it where you can get Photoshop CS2 legally and for free. So don't worry, that won't be a problem. I'll just link it, and it's on the official Adobe website, so you don't need to worry about Trojan ponies or any viruses, anything like that. This is all legal, and it's good. So basically, as far as this goes, there are two methods for what I'm going to do to finalize this page. There's going to be a way to do it in Sci and in Photoshop. So if you want to see the Sci one, you can just get to whenever the heck the time is going to be. Probably have an annotation for that. So right now I'm going to show you something that you do actually need to do in Photoshop, and that's fix the scan, because you'll see that this scan isn't fantastic, which actually brings me to an important point, that the scanner doesn't really matter. So long as it can scan, you can fix it. Yeah, that's about as far as I'm gonna go with that. But basically, there's a cool thingy I want to show you guys. Guys, check this out. It's gonna be awesome. Now, this is best if you zoom in so you can actually see like the quality of the lines. I did scan this in at 300 dpi, which is just super fancy lingo for dots per inch. It just means that it makes a bigger image, so there's more pixels in it, and it'll make it more clear. So it just means more DPI equals more HD. Yay. So I am actually going to show you guys a tool, and the reason I zoom in is so I can actually see the pixels closely. I'm actually going to add contrast to this so it'll be like a solid black line like you're used to seeing. So image, adjustments, and then threshold. This slider is your best friend. It's your freaking best friend. You just don't know it yet. His name is Winston. You should say hi to him. He's actually a nice guy. So basically, you'll see that this slider goes from 0 to a lot of numbers. Basically, what you're going to want to do with this is you want to slide this to a point where you're happy with the scan, so it's not so washed out, but it's not so heavily added in contrast that you see pixels everywhere. So you're going to want to find a balance with this. It goes, usually with me, I go anywhere from 100 to 200. So I'll just move the slider back and forth while checking the preview, and we'll be happy with it. So that looks good to me. So now I can zoom out, and look, it's a line art that looks like a line art. But yeah, there's the scan, and it's been cleared and whatnot, so that's great. And from here, you'll actually see that there's little fuzzies and whatnot. Like, you'll see that there's still fuzzies. The image doesn't do a perfect job with the scanning, but it's there. So you can actually fix this. This is the part where a tablet is preferred, not this kind of tablet, this kind of tablet. I have this kind of tablet, and yeah, this is a part where a tablet is preferred, but it's not absolutely necessary, but it does save a lot of time. So from here, I can actually just clean up the scan, but there's something I want to do beforehand, so I will pull this into Paint Tool Sci, and I'll show you guys something really cool. Okay, so now that I have this page pulled into Sci after the contrast and whatnot has been added, I'm actually going to show you guys that when this is scanned in, there's still a solid white behind this. I'll show you guys if you understand with the layers. I'm just using my mouse right now because my tablet's not plugged in, and I'm too lazy to plug it in. So you'll see that I'm going to draw a red line under here. You'll see in this layer down here that it is actually there. I'll just draw red everywhere. But you'll see that it's not showing up because there's actually white on the layer above. So I actually found a way to fix this. There are two ways you can do this in Photoshop as well. One, you can go to Mode and then Multiply, or you can actually do what I do and you can go to Layer, Illuminate the Transparency, and then pull it back into Photoshop and do whatever the crud you're going to do. So that basically made it so the white is transparent and the black is just black. So now you can add whatever the heck you want under here, which is great, because now we're moving on to shading. Now this can be done either way in Photoshop or Sci. The way you would do it in Sci is actually just using this blue tool, and you can do whatever the crap you want with that. Select and then color. And yeah, that's basically how I would shade the pages. I'm not going to go into detail with that because unfortunately I did not record it, and I really don't want to do it again. I already have the finished product for this page, but I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. And basically, I'm more showing you guys how I do things, not like actually doing them though. Sorry about that, but I do have other videos that I do actually show the process. So I can actually link those, so if you want to see how I go into the shading process and whatnot, I can actually put that somewhere else, and then you guys can go click on that if you want to. But yeah, that's kind of the end of this tutorial as far as that goes. And then back to the text, you can just pull it back into Photoshop and then use the text bubble. Oh, that'd be something that'd be wonderful if Sci had would be text, because my handwriting's crap, and trust me, it needs all the help it can get. It kind of looks like a chicken bites down on a pencil, has a seizure all over the paper, and then that's my handwriting. So, hope this video helped, if any. Hopefully now there won't be as many questions about my manga, but if you do have any more questions about whatever the heck I just did, or if you're confuzzled about it, because there are people who are gifted at explaining things. Sadly, I am not one of them. So if you have any questions, you can just put them in the comments. I'll get around to it, watch it. No, I won't watch it. I'll read it. Maybe reply, but if it's a question that has already been answered in the video, I'll just probably reply with, "Hey, watch the video." So, yeah. Hope this helped, and bye!